My name is Paul Schmitt. In the world of skateboarding, I'm known as Professor Schmitt. That would have been the Triple X girls in Tampa, Florida. 78, 79, something like that. Of course, my favorite skate team would have been Schmitt Sticks in the 80s.
Back in Arizona, we had one simple rule: when you hit the first wall of a brand new pool, you got to coming in the deep end at 1,000 miles per hour.
The absolute best rider on the Schmitt Sticks team was my lifetime bro, Monty Nolder.
Before the shots in the shower, you got to run. Seek and ye shall find.
Going back deep, the band I wish I saw would have been the Sex Pistols. I'm not sure what to say there, because every skate picture has something to it. A background, a trick, a style, a flavor, a flow. I don't think there's a best. The Dead Kennedys were always fun. Yeah, for me, my favorite skateboarder would definitely Monty Nolder. He had the finesse of power and finesse. It was like a ballerina. And he's going to smash it up at the same time. The yardstick, of course. My favorite skateboard would be my first skateboard. It had plastic wheels or plastic board with ball bearings, loose ball bearings, holes. You could see the holes through the wheels. I don't even know what it was called, you know. But the reality is that on that board, I found the freedom of skateboarding. So when we first moved to California, I got to go to an Agent Orange show. This is 85, and it's like it was so rad and raw and punk and had a blast. Skateboarding's yours. Use your hands, your mind, your body. See some progression. I don't know your names, but you guys were there. We made skateboards this weekend here in Boston. You're the coolest ones this week. So one of the stories that tie to my history that I'm here today because of this story. And when I was a kid at Rainbow Wave Skate Park, I walked to the store one day with Alan Gelfen and Mike McGill. And I have wooden rails I've made on my board, and wooden rails were very common in there because they were made for grabbing. And Alan had just had an interview in the magazine. He's doing rock and rolls on Mark Lake's ramp with a Z-Flex urethane grab air. And every time he'd rock and roll the lip, it would grab. So Alan told me if rails slid, that'd be cool. Well, the next day I was working on solving that. I made rails that were now wooden for Mike and fiberglass. They didn't break anymore. They slid okay, but then I quickly moved to UHMW plastic, which became the standard plastic for all the rails I made all through the 80s. So I started making boards just by the desire of making boards and the willingness to try. My first board was actually solid oak with the glued-on kicktail, and then started to laminate veneers, and I did that originally underneath my mom's car tire. But when the glue wasn't dry and she had to go to work and I'd lose my material, it sucked. So I eventually built a press in my bedroom out of 2x6s and then put a hydraulic car jack in it and crank it up, you know. And that's how I pressed boards for the first 6-7 years, you know, before I ever had automatic presses, you know. So just the willingness to work and try, you know. If you're willing to work hard enough, I'm a firm believer you can do anything in life. I just skated a bowl today that's built into a rock because somebody believed in it enough. So the first real production boards for Schmitt Sticks were the ATV, the Tarantula, and the Monty Nolder model. And all those came out in 1983. And that was when I started selling boards production style. I'd already been selling real rails for 5 or 6 years before that. 1983, Christmas time, or New Year's Eve, we had the St. Pete Ramp Jam. We had all the guys from California come out. Fausto helped me run this contest in John Grigley's backyard, so he promoted it from the California side. And Monty had been skating really hard, practicing all the time, driving down. And in that era, I used to develop photos. I'd buy bulk rolls and I'd make bulk film and I'd develop it in the bathroom right there and make prints right there. And they were horribly developed. But anyways, I do it. So I took pictures of Monty that day, and then I picked Lance Mountain up at the airport, and I showed him a picture of Monty doing a channel plant the day before, and he's like, "Oh, you can't do channel plants that way." Monty didn't know that you weren't supposed to be flying from 2-3 feet above the coping, reaching for it, you know. And Lance didn't know that you were supposed to do it. You know, he reached over and touched it and swung over. And they were both phenomenal, you know. But it was really interesting to hear the creator of a trick say, "Oh, no, you can't do it that way." Monty didn't believe him. He couldn't hear him anyways, you know. So Sam, I hear the Danger Board was your favorite board.
Favorite skateboard, the Danger Deck, Schmitt sticks.
That's great to hear. That board was a really progressive board at its time when it came out, shape-wise. It was getting rid of sort of all the fishy, crazy, wacky shapes, and very much was a signal for where shapes came in the early 90s. And that board was designed by Chuck Holtz, who designed most of the Schmitt stick shapes. So Kevin, I hear you love the chainsaw so much, you still got 13 of them left.
I rode 14 of them in a row, and I have all but one of them at home.
Well, what's up with that? I only got one, dude. You know, are you sharing or what? The chainsaw came about that at the factory, the guys that worked in the workshop, one day they walked into my office saying, "Here's the chainsaw." And they took the yardstick mold and they made a 39-inch board out of it. And I was like, no. 36 inches is too big already. We don't need to go any bigger than that. We're going 33. But then we have to make a mold. It's like, so I just made a mold for it, and that's the chainsaw. So I got a New England skateboard story for you here. I used to get all my veneer when I lived in Florida and in the Vision Wood shop all through the 80s for Vision Sims and Schmitt sticks out of Rutland, fucking Vermont. So the Vision Sims boards from 86 to 90, if they had square edges, they didn't come out of my factory. They came out of Taylor and Dykema and the other people. If they had round edges, they were out of the factory I built. So looking at the Phillips poster there on the wall, you know what boards Phillips rode? Schmitt sticks boards with Sims graphics on it. You know what boards Gator rode? Schmitt sticks boards with Vision graphics on it. You know, I ran the factory, made it work. They always wanted the best shit. It's only one way to get it. Ride mine.
Come on, guys, let's go.
I'm lucky to be here. Thanks for letting me come along with the ride. It's been amazing.